Redbrook is another pretty village within the Wye Valley area of outstanding natural beauty. It lies on the River Wye in Gloucestershire, next to the border with Monmouthshire. Redbrook was historically an important industrial centre, with many industrial sites including mills and ironworks, tin plate works and copper works. The oldest site is the King's Mill, which was a corn mill first recorded in 1434, and which remained in use until 1925. The Redbrook Copper Works used ore brought from Cornwall via Chepstow, and worked until 1740, when it closed down, and the buildings were leased for the manufacture of tin plate. It is from this iron ore that the village got its name. The brook running down the valley through the village often ran dark red. The tin plate factory, run by the Redbrook Tin Plate Company, was world famous for the high quality product it made, and did not close until 1962. Redbrook was also a river port, where the various products of the local industries were shipped. Redbrook has a post office and stores, as well as 2 local pubs, the Boat Inn at Penallt on the Welsh side of the river, and the Bell Inn on the English side. The Boat Inn is accessed from Redbrook via an old railway bridge, which I will be exploring shortly. The village once boasted no less than 13 inns and 3 breweries. The last brewery to close, in 1926, was Redbrook Brewery, and the site is still marked by Brewery Yard and Brewery Terrace. Redbrook has a population of around 370, and is a quiet village amongst peaceful wooded hills. A little above the river is the 19th century church of St Saviour. It consists of a 4-bay nave, a gabled south porch, north and south transepts, and a later square tower. The church underwent some restoration work in the mid-1980s, and has recently had a new roof and flooring. The building is used during the week by the village school, which is next door, as their school hall. Offers Dyke Path and the Wye Valley Walk run through the village. Redbrook was the last station before Monmouth on the Wye Valley Railway, which was opened in 1876 to connect Monmouth to the South Wales line. Redbrook Bridge is a viaduct that formerly carried the railway over the River Wye. The viaduct is a single-track curved structure of 5 girder spans, supported on 4 pairs of cast iron columns, located between Redbrook-on-Wye and Penallt Halt stations. Passenger services ceased on the railway in 1959, but the viaduct is still open to carry a public footpath over the Wye. I decided to explore the bridge for myself, so I crossed from Redbrook to Penallt. Overlooking the bridge is the Boat Inn, one of the oldest pubs in the area. It is an important part of the community, offering a great place for both locals and visitors to relax. Its location is just stunning. I crossed back over the bridge to Redbrook to start my walk. Redbrook was another village in the Wye Valley that I tended to pass through more than anything. But this morning it's been nice having a little walk around it, and it's also where my walk for today starts. From the A466, I swung east as I followed the minor road signposted for Newland, Clearwell and Colford. This valley is filled with traces of old industrial workings and tramways, in particular the incline bridge, which carried the Monmouth tramway across the valley road at an unlikely angle. The road ran up the upper Redbrook valley alongside the upstream arm of an abandoned meander of the River Wye, and this walk traces much of its course. This meander was abandoned long ago when the river cut through a narrow neck of higher ground at Redbrook. Small streams such as Valley Brook now follow the course of the river, and they were in turn dammed to form ponds to power forges and mills from medieval times onwards. Turning right off the road just beyond the mill pond, I took a path which began to veer away from the meander. I climbed up through a lovely wood connecting Furnace Grove and Swanpool Wood, part of the ancient broadleaved woodlands hugging the sites of the Wye Valley. The character of the landscape changed as I emerged onto the open hillside, where my path crossed arable fields and rough pasture. Before long, I crossed one final field to reach my next location on the walk. So I'm arriving at the second village on the walk today. This is Newland. Newland is a village in the Forest of Dean, situated about 2 miles southwest of Colford. It was the centre of a large parish with complex boundaries and scattered settlements. In the 15th and 16th centuries, an unofficial market was held at Newland, the traders taking advantage of the large numbers congregating at the parish church on Sundays and feast days. It probably lapsed during the 17th century, when Colford became a market town. William Jones of Monmouth endowed almshouses in this, his home village of Newland. With the growth of Colford, Newland remained small and mainly residential, with 2 sets of almshouses, a grammar school, and in the mid-18th century, a successful private school. I walked beside the almshouses and read the inscriptions on one of the walls. These almshouses, for 8 men and 8 women, parishioners of Newland, and the habitation adjoining for a lecturer, were founded AD 1615 by Mr. William Jones, citizen and haberdasher of London, and he appointed the Worshipful Company of Haberdashers' Governors. The almshouses were modernised in 1954 by the Haberdashers' Company governors of the charity of William Jones. Newland has the excellent Ostrich Inn, which is thought to have taken its name from the ostrich emblem used by the Probyns, the local landowners in previous centuries. The Ostrich Inn is known for its excellent food, with one of the best restaurants in the area. There is also a good range of real ales, and up to 8 are usually kept on tap. A short distance north of the village stood the Newland Oak, which it is claimed had the largest circumference of any common oak ever recorded. In 1906, its circumference at 5 feet from the ground was 43 feet 6 inches. By 1950, the tree had lost several large limbs, and the tree suffered a near-fatal collapse during a snowstorm in May 1955. The remnants of the tree were set on fire by vandals in 1970. Cuttings were taken in December 1964, and a new tree, raised from one of these cuttings, now stands where the old oak stood. Newland's main landmark, however, is the impressive Church of All Saints, often described as the Cathedral of the Forest. Little remains of the original church, but the nave, the long chancel and the porch are all from the first rebuilding around 1300. The centrepiece of the church is its 14th century tower, with beautiful windows, pretty pinnacles and parapet. The church contains several effigies, including that of Sir John and Lady Joyce of Clearwell, who died in 1344 and 1362 respectively, and an effigy of Jenkin Wirral, Forester of Fee, which shows details of the hunting costume of that period. It also contains the miner's brass, just 1 foot high, which depicts a helmet, crest and figure of a medieval miner of the Forest of Dean, with a hodden pick in his hand and candlestick in his mouth.
Well, I can't remember exactly when I last came here to Newland, but I reckon it must be 30 to 35 years ago. And as villages go, I have to say, I think that Newland must qualify as one of the Forest of Dean's prettiest.
I walked through the churchyard and went steeply down the walled Savage Hill. Turning right onto Laundry Lane, then left at the next junction, I followed a restricted byway which traced the course of the abandoned meander, now represented by the much smaller Valley Brook.
I did this circular walk a long time ago, and I must have done it at least twice, and the last time I did it would have been the last time I went to Newland. But it's funny, because even though I remember this walk, and particularly this stretch that I'm doing now, I don't remember that first section of the walk, the section from Redbrook to Newland. I mean, I know I'd have done it, because that's on this circular walk, but for some reason I just don't remember that part of the walk, so that's quite funny, because when you buy walking guidebooks in many of those books, this circular walk is quite common, so, but yeah, I just don't remember that first stretch for some strange reason. But it'd be interesting to see if this part of the walk is as I remember it all those years ago. Still a lovely walk, whatever, the whole thing.
This was a delightfully secluded valley, with evidence of rural activities, as the track passed a deerstalker's tower and pheasant pens, as it gradually converged with and crossed the brook, with pools on both sides of the bridge. As I approached Lodge's farm, I forked right on a sandy track. Continuing along above the Valley Brook, the scenery of this old meander just got better and better.
Yeah, I do remember this valley. But I'd forgotten how beautiful it is. It's just absolutely stunning.
As the open valley with its riverside meadows ran below the woodlands of Highbury Wood on the left, I passed Glyn Farm, keeping to the gravelly track as it crossed the brook. The track became a surfaced lane as I reached Lower Redbrook. I took a flight of concrete steps on the right, leading down to the main road, where I was back in the centre of the village.
Well, that was lovely. A really lovely walk that I don't think I've done for about 35 years. So I'm going to finish off in my usual half at the end of my walk. And if it's open, I'm going to pop over to the boat inn on the other side of the old railway bridge.
And that's exactly what I did. Crossing over the bridge again, I enjoyed half a cider in the cosy bar of the boat inn, where I relaxed and unwound after a truly wonderful walk today.